This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Man, oh man, what a class we're going to have today. No kidding. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? Here we go. This is serious. Your dial set correctly to usaprepares.com, and we're broadcasting 2 hours from high atop the Missouri Ozark Mountains, Studio A. Information's on the website. Alex is producing the broadcast at GCN in Minnesota. Converging threats are confronted daily by your instructors. I'm Vincent Finelli. For those of you new to the class, there are about 200 of us. We're experts in various areas. We're innovators. We're dentists, medical doctors, physicists, farmers, researchers, broadcasters, CEOs, surgeons, engineers, inventors, and we're students rising to become instructors. Any of you may become an instructor. If you've got information to share, let me know. Let me know. Please contact me through the website, usaprepares.com. And I'm interested in talking with you. This hour, we're going to talk with Quinn Aker. Quinn Aker spent some time with a SWAT team. Yeah. He had the muzzle of a gun pointed at him. SWAT team arrived on his farm. He and 8 adults. There were 8 adults there. Ski masks. There's a 10-hour siege, battle rifles, dozens of authorities, if you want to call them that, code enforcers, government cars, specialized equipment. They arrived, 10-hour siege, and we're here to talk about what it's like, what happened, what caused it, and where we are right now. Welcome, Quinn Aker.
Thank you, Vincent. I'm good to be here.
Quinn, you suffered some pretty horrendous treatment at the siege. I guess that's what we'll call it, at your property that you own, free and clear, right?
Yeah, it's owned outright. Free and clear.
So let's start at the beginning. We have an hour to talk about this. You and some other adults were at the farm, and did you get a phone call that said, by the way, hey, Quinn, we'd love to chat with you. What's a good time? What happened?
Oh, man. It's far from that. In fact, we have on the record over 20 lawful communications with the city, with the sheriff, with the mayor, with the city manager, establishing our rights, clearly, very clearly on the record, proving, and we have agreement from them on the record that we're free to do on our land as we see fit, to pursue our life of happiness, to, follow our spiritual path, to be secure in our person and our effects. And they really didn't like that. And they've been for a long time trying to build a case. And, they had some bad intel. They, were, too excited. They wound up making a huge mistake. And that mistake resulted in, so 20 fully armed, battle-ready SWAT team, bulletproof shields, ski masks, the whole get-up. And no, they did not announce themselves. They came in, guns blazing, fingers on the trigger, and, arrested everybody, in handcuffs, at gunpoint.
Quinn, you're talking about this happening on a small farm?
Yeah, we don't refer to it as a farm per se, but we definitely grow the highest quality food that you can't buy, of which we eat ourselves, of which we, feed our family, our friends. We feed people that are, hurting, that can't afford food, people that are unhealthy, that have never eaten high quality food. We teach workshops, for free on how to build your own living structures, on how to, grow the most amazing food, about the law, about how to, claim and secure your rights, on how to engage in due process of law. It's actually real interesting. We've got a friend, he's a Jewish attorney, and he made the observation, he said that he's familiar with the living style that he's seen here. And, it's been successfully accomplished in Israel. And he says our Jewish people have been doing the kibbutz system, which is still working, well in place. And, it's a sustainable, contributing. We contribute to our community. We serve and we help the people around us. We've never hurt anybody. We've never infringed upon anybody's, right to live, to thrive. We've never tried to solicit or, change anybody or make people feel guilty or shameful for how they live. We just want to live free. We just want to follow our spiritual path. We just want to be healthy. We just want to be with our family.
Well, that sounds like that's what the entire problem is. You don't want to follow the system's rules. You just want to follow liberty and freedom and self-direction and self-determination. And it sounds like you also want to be prepared for whatever may come your way. But I guess you weren't expecting this attack by, we'll call them the authorities, quote unquote. So what was your reaction? I mean, let's talk about how this happened. Were your doors locked? Did they bash down your doors? Were your doors unlocked? Did they knock? Did they ring the bell? Did they say, can you come on out here on the porch? How did this happen, Quinn?
No, it's really sad because, we don't lock our doors. We've got those little, magnet screen, open, close magnet screens on all of our doors so that the fresh breeze can come in. And, we just, for the most part, unless it's super, super, super hot out or super, super, super cold out, then, we've got the fresh breeze coming through. And on this particular morning when they showed up at 7:40 a.m., our doors were still open. The screens very peacefully hanging there. And I was actually the only one not in bed at the time. And I heard some commotion at the front gate, and I stuck my head out one of these screens, and I actually saw a whole squad, and it wasn't all of them. It was just the ones coming around this side of the land. And as soon as I saw them, it was just immediate attention. I knew I only had seconds, and my only concern, my only thought was to make sure that the well-being of the children was as secure as possible. So I immediately, ran upstairs, awoke the mother, and, told her, look, there's a SWAT team here, and, there's nothing we can do about it. And she, wakes up. Of course, she's terrified. She's, shaking. She's naked, in bed, nursing her children. And she puts on some clothes, takes some deep breaths, and before we know it, we hear at the bottom of the stairs, a bunch of shouting. They had already, at gunpoint, seized and handcuffed everybody else on the land. And no, they did not say, we're here. They didn't knock. They didn't honk at the front gate. In fact, we had the front gate locked, and we've basically been on lockdown for 8 months because they started threatening us to come on our land, not according to due process of law, not without any court trial, not without anything, just we're code compliant, we can do whatever we want type thing. And we had clearly established, bona fide record documents with them. And so, we locks on the gate, and we had notices on there, which said, we're free. This is our land. We own it. We haven't damaged anybody unless you can prove that, unless there's a corpus delicti, unless there's a damaged party. We have committed no crime. And so, of course, they smashed down that gate. They came in, no announcement. They cut down our peacefully hanging little screens at gunpoint. Seized every adult in the house. The upstairs was last. They had already gathered intel from other people that were here, so they had what they believed a head count on how many people should be here. So they were calling up, and I called down and I said, "Look, there's a mother and 2 children up here, a 2-week-old infant. Just be calm. I'm happy to come down. We have no weapons. There's nothing we can do. Even if we did have weapons, there's nothing we can do. It's a 20-man plus fully armed battle squad, not to mention 50 other agents in different capacities. They've got the whole land secured. We don't know it at this time, but they secured the whole perimeter around our land. They had all the neighbors, police cars at all the neighbors. They had all the roads blocked off, everything. So I walk real slowly to the top of the stairs, with my hands above my head, and I just sort of stand there real calmly again, just sort of, do a little bit of that, Jedi Zen, just to make sure it's all okay, it's all peaceful as it can be, at least. Because I've heard plenty of accounts of people being shot just because they, make a quick move, or they say something, or, something seen that they don't expect. You got these super amped up, highly testosterone, aggressive men that are trained to kill people. And I've heard a lot of stories that I didn't want to have any chance of being true here, especially with the children. So, just walk down the stairs real slowly, real calmly. The only thing I care about is the children. Just, they're asleep. Please, 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 be careful, be calm. I go down, they grab me, they put me in handcuffs, and, take me into another room.
Quinn, hold that thought. We're going into a break. It'll be a couple minutes of commercials, and we're going to come right back. And we'll talk about, they grabbed you, they put you in handcuffs. And I've got some questions. 20 plus 50 agents, that's 70, blocking off the road. Sounds like David Koresh. We'll be right back. Class, we're talking with Quinn Aker, Arlington, Texas. And what he's told us is that a SWAT team arrived on his ground. We'll call it a farm. And they said there were some code violations, code compliance violations. Quinn, you said that there were 20 SWAT-type people there, armed, battle rifles, shields, face masks. The roads were blocked off. The neighbors' properties were being occupied by the government to seal off the perimeter. Were your telephone lines cut? Were you able to make a telephone call? Could you call your sheriff and demand help?
Well, we were all in handcuffs, and even if they weren't cut, we couldn't do anything. We couldn't have access to any cell phones. We didn't have access to, computers. We didn't have access to our cameras, to our video equipment. They had us, completely, detained in handcuffs at gunpoint. There was, we don't actually have a landline, so nothing to cut there. But even if they didn't cut it, there's nothing we could have done. They come in real fast. They come in really fast. They sweep the whole area. They, get everybody. And they don't even let you ask any questions. We asked to see a warrant. We asked to know their names, their badge numbers, to hear their oath of office. What was their official capacity. They wouldn't answer anything.
Quinn, what you're talking about is worse than Nazi Germany. When the stormtroopers would come up to the second floor and arrest people and round them up for the concentration camp, at least you knew what was going on. Here, we're talking about they wouldn't discuss anything. Were they shouting at you, yelling at you, demanding that you do things, and not responding to any of your questions?
Oh,
Is
yeah.
that what we're saying?
In the very beginning, yeah. You know, and thankfully here we're very conscious folk. We've had a lot of, practice, living consciously and responsibly. So, we knew that, resisting, that fighting, that making it difficult for them was only going to make it more difficult for us. So we were very, very gentle. We were very calm. When they first came in, like I said, yeah, they were using very loud, aggressive voices with guns, making all sorts of demands, wouldn't ask any questions. And in fact, one of my friends who was here at the time, he says that he was woken up by a man with a gun. So he was basically in a state of shock, and he's immediately the SWAT guy is asking him, how many people are here? How many people are here? And he's trying to think, but he's just being woken up out of bed. And all he can see is, this man is in total black, a fully loaded assault rifle pointed right at him, except for the tip of the index finger, which you can see the skin, and it's right on that trigger, and it's pointed right at his chest. And so, he's being yelled at, being demanded to ask these questions, and all he can sort of, see and think about is, this gun that's pointed at him, his finger on the trigger, and, he's trying to think, okay, how many people were here when I went to sleep last night? Oh, my God. And, the guy's screaming and yelling at him, and, he's trying to think just, in a state of shock. He's under extreme pressure at the time.
When you looked at these people, were you able to get any information as to who they were? Were they local county SWAT? Were they? They were
city. They were city agents from Arlington. We were able to see Arlington in some form or fashion on their suits.
All right. When we come back, I'd like to know if you were able to determine any of their names and their ranks, and actually who they are. When we come back. Unbelievable. Quinn Aker, Arlington, Texas. SWAT team shows up, arrests everybody, or puts them in handcuffs, terrorizes them for 10 hours. Yep. Class, if this does not bring chills to you, I don't know what will. We're talking about a siege at a farm. Kind of like what happened to David Koresh. The area was sealed off. The neighbors' homes were occupied by agents. No communications. 8 people were held at gunpoint. We don't know who they were at that time. Ski masks. Why do these guys need to hide? Is it because that we might find out who they are? Is that what it is? Is it that they are afraid for their lives because of what they do during their daytime jobs? What kind of an individual does it take to be a hired killer? Quinn Aker's with us, and his property was invaded by a SWAT team. Do you know who they were, Quinn?
Well, we were able to tell that they were with the city of Arlington, and it's more and more common these days that city police are becoming militarized, not only in their training but also their weapons, their outfits, their get-ups. It's a big deal. Arlington even has a drone, unmanned drone, which they also sent circling our land a couple days before this whole thing went down. They never identified themselves, which is a big problem because all government officials, these are government officials. They work for the people. They're supposed to work for the people. The people pay them. The people are their boss. They have an oath of office, which means that they've sworn under oath to serve and protect the Constitution and the people. They have to identify themselves. They have to be accountable. They have to be responsible. It's just completely out of line, completely crazy. So not only do they not announce themselves, they don't, they don't ask any, questions. They only, make demands. And yes, everyone was handcuffed, which is technically speaking an arrest. And they don't identify themselves. Not only that, but they've got ski masks and helmets as far as the SWAT team goes. We asked them very specifically to see a warrant, which they don't present. We asked what their official capacities are. They're like, well, what's that mean? We asked what their badge numbers were, what their names were. Didn't get that info. Just nothing.
Well, obviously, the situation has calmed down. What actually did they want from you?
Well, the real deal is that, we're doing a lot more than growing food here. We're doing a lot more than, taking care of our family. We're teaching the people. We're liberating the people. We are, for free, in many, many, many cases, sharing with people how to grow their own food, how to take care of their own health, how to get off of pharmaceuticals, how to, get free of the doctors, how to build their own homes, aquaponics, energy, windmills and, solar panels and, all the essential stuff. We're preparing ourselves to be totally independent, totally self-sustainable, not just because we want to live that life in general, but because it's becoming more and more obvious that if whoever's not that is going to be probably dead, because there's, at some point in time, there's going to be something big that goes down in this country, and millions of people are going to die because they're not prepared. So we're not only preparing ourselves, but we're preparing our community, we're preparing our friends. We're telling the truth. On top of that, like I said, we established with the city because they sent us code violations 8 months ago, and they said, oh, you have improperly stacked wood, and you have outdoor furniture, indoor furniture outdoors, and you don't have vehicles parked on, cement slabs and all sorts of, silly stuff. And one of the things that also was there is you have bushes that's overhanging the road. So we immediately cut the bushes that overhung into the road because we're honorable people, and we thought, well, that could potentially interfere with someone's, free will right to travel. And we have no desire to in any way do that. So we immediately cut that down. We sent them a lawful notification under penalty of perjury, signed, sworn, and attested to, sent registered mail. And we said, look, we did this because we agree with it. We didn't, not because we comply, because we agree as being honorable beings. And we didn't do any of these things because these were all essential parts of, our pursuit of happiness, our spiritual path, our way of living, the way that we, provide for our family. And you don't have the authority, you don't have the jurisdiction to tell us what we do on our land unless we're harming somebody. And unless you can show us the law under penalty of perjury that gives you authority to supersede our rights or has a law that supersedes our rights, then the record stands that we are free. They agreed by, acquiescence. We sent them another lawful notification under penalty of perjury, registered mail, signed, sworn, and attested to. And we said, okay, the record, shows, the record stands that we are free. We have the, right to do this, and this. You don't have the authority or jurisdiction, to do this, and this. And until you show some law, bona fide fact in law, under penalty of perjury that proves otherwise, this is the record. This is This is the bona fide truth. So they really, really didn't like that, because here in Arlington, code compliance is just one of the, it's some of the worst you'll find anywhere in the country, the code compliance officers here. I know friends that have set out a refrigerator on their front porch to be picked up, like on Craigslist, and code compliance, and 6 police officers showed up because they had a refrigerator on the front porch. Just code compliance is a big deal here, and that they're in conjunction with the police, with guns, and they just go around making demands and enforcing this without any due process of law whatsoever. Well, we know the law. We are free beings, and we establish our freedom and our rights according to law, according to due process of law. And they really didn't like that. They knew that we knew the law, and they couldn't technically do anything, and they knew that they couldn't technically do anything. So we have proof that at least since March of this year, they've been secretly building a case against us. They've sent helicopters flying over our land. They've sent undercover detectives to our land. They've had secret meetings with the neighbors. They've sent police patrols, that will sit on the road outside of our land from time to time. Just trying to find any excuse that they possibly can to justify, enforcement of their power, to put their boots and guns on our land. Well, supposedly, according to Detective Perez, who wrote an affidavit, which is all full of conjecture and hearsay and speculation, which is perjury, because an affidavit is a statement of facts. They're not allowed to have that stuff in an affidavit to begin with. They wrote an affidavit that said on the 30th, Quinn Aker was in possession of 2 ounces or less of marijuana. Now, there's no way that they could possibly know that or have any proof of that, because I was on my land the days prior, the days after. There's always someone that can account for my whereabouts. There was never, any unknown individuals on our land. So there's no way they can have any proof or fact of that whatsoever. I guarantee it. And that was their probable cause. They wound up bringing a warrant, which we did get to see hours after, the initial raid, a warrant for a completely full-on, drug operation. The warrant said, we have probable cause to search and seize marijuana plants in different stages of growth, marijuana that's already been harvested, and packaged and prepared for distribution, high-intensity grow lights, fertilizers, accounting, stacks of cash, video and photos and, documentation of the operation, just like a full-on, drug cartel. And when when they signed this a warrant on the back, it said items seized, none. So they didn't find anything. They didn't seize anything because there wasn't anything. So there's a lot of really important stuff to look at. Number one, they're obviously very inept, spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours trying to build a case and having nothing whatsoever in that case. These are supposed to be trained professionals. Number two, it's very obvious that this whole raid was just a justification for the real issue. And the real issue is that they don't like our freedom. They don't like our independence. They don't like our sharing freely with the people how to do that for themselves. And they were threatened by that. And they were just trying to look for any way to justify destroying us, and especially me. And so this is what they thought was their justification. And they were just, they're salivating, they're chomping at the bit. The police officers really hate me because I've got videos talking about how to, put police officers in their place. They've seen those videos. They've done, their research. So they really dislike me. And, they thought that this was their opportunity, and so they jumped on it. And, they made a big mistake. And hopefully, ideally, this winds up being in our favor. Hopefully, ideally, this winds up being a blessing. Hopefully, ideally, we are able to bring a lot of awareness to the growing military state, military city, military country, the aggressive, misuse of power by the public servants And also, ideally, we're able to, with due process of law, go to court, have a trial, put all the information on record, and have a judgment in our favor that makes amends for all the damages, all the violations of rights, and their complete violation of due process of law, their oaths of office, and the whole shebang.
And terrorizing 8 adults and some children. Unbelievable. Quinn Aker, and I'll be right back. Class meetup on Monday. Self-defense. We're going to talk about tactics and training. Ziggy's, 5:30, Springfield, Missouri. We'll be right back with Quinn. Class, Quinn Aker's with us, and he's been talking about the SWAT raid on his property. And I'd like to let you know that on September 14th, USA Prepares instructors are going to be traveling to Indiana, where we're going to support a farmer, Mark Baker and family. And their farm has been attacked by the Department of Natural Resources for raising pigs. And they say that you can't raise pigs with floppy ears, curly tails, straight ears, all kinds of definitions. And they want to they want this farm to have none of these pigs. And they've ordered the farmers to kill their own pigs, their own animals, or face a $10,000 per animal fine. They're up to $700,000. And the Baker family has said they're not going to do it. So we are going up to support them. That's September 14th. I'm going to put information on the website. I did a post on the website right now. If you'd like to take a look, usaprepares.com, page 1. Right now we're talking with Quinn Aker, and he was raided. His property was raided by a SWAT team, 20 agents, plus 50 more. That is an enormous force to tell you to knock it off. They're trying to show force. And is it working?
Oh, no. It's not working at all. We're stronger than ever. We're more dedicated than ever. We're more determined than ever. This kind of stuff cannot happen. We're going to make a stand. We're going to, share the truth. We're going to see that justice is, served. We're going to keep educating the people. We're going to keep preparing. We're going to keep helping people prepare. We're only stronger and more motivated than we were before.
It's funny you say these things. The reason I say that is we've got the helicopters flying over the farm, and we're in the middle of nowhere. That's already happening. Our communications are being interrupted. People are saying, hey, Vinny, I just sent you an email. I'm talking about instructors are sending me emails right now, and they're not getting through. I'm not getting my emails. People say, hey, I sent you an email. What's going on? They're trying to disrupt who we are. And who we are is exactly who you are. You're talking about teaching about solar power, water filtration, growing food. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do on this broadcast. That's what we do at the Get Prepared Expo. That's our mission. So we're probably next on the list, and I fully expect it. The only difference is that we're telling everybody that it's
right.
coming. It's coming.
Right.
So, Gwen, I want to tell you that I have some friends on the radio here at Genesis, and we're going to get the word out, and I hope you've got some minutes on your phone because you're going to be on the air a lot if you want.
Great. That's what we want, man. We want to empower the people. We want to awaken the people. We want us all to rise up, to come together for common purpose and claim our power. We, the people, are the power. That hasn't changed. We just have somehow forgotten that. We've been brainwashed. We've been conditioned. We've been coerced over generations. To be complacent slaves. We're no longer the patriots that we once were when we, declared our Declaration of Independence back in 1776, when we were the most powerful country in the world because of freedom, because of liberty, when everybody wanted to be in the land of the free. Everybody wanted to be in the United States of America because it was the best country in the world. And now countries all over the world are, not only, scared, of the United States, but also, laughing at the United States. And the United States is the most insolvent and debt-ridden country in the history of humanity. It's just a sad, sad state of affairs, and the reason why is because of the, continual licensing, regulating and taxing of the people.
Quinn, the farmers, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington, James Madison, I've been to all of their homes.
Right.
They were on the front lines.
They knew what they were doing, man.
The farmers, class, it's the farmers. And Quinn, really quick, do you think any of these guys in these SWAT uniforms and these face masks and batons and tear gas and all that, do you think any of them has a garden?
I highly doubt it.
Quinn Aker, Arlington, Texas. I'm Vin Finelli. Class, stay tuned for hour number 2. We're going to tell you how to get rid of your smart meters. No kidding. Jerry Day is going to be with us. Smart meters, hour number 2. Quinn, thanks so much for being with us. We're looking forward to having you on other broadcasts and this one again and again and again.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@USAPrepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Watch the greenbacks tumble.
Wow. Everyone all set? Cocked? Locked? This is hour number 2 of USAPrepares.com. For those of you who did not listen to hour number 1, I suggest that you download the podcast. Quinn Aker was on, and a SWAT team raided his farm, held the residents at gunpoint for 10 hours, Arlington, Texas, recently. You want to share that with your friends and family. If you want to know what it's like when a SWAT team comes with 20 armed agents and 50 others, and they invade your neighbors' homes and they quarantine the area. If you want to know what it's like when helicopters come, hour number 1. Please share it with your friends and family. And I'd like you to consider putting this on YouTube, this hour coming up and the previous hour. USA Prepare. Share it with everyone. I'm not kidding. Next serious topic. Jerry Day's with us. Now, Jerry Day is exposing the truth about smart electric meters. They use the word smart. They are monitoring your electricity consumption. And by the use of these, the power companies can tell when you come home. They can tell when you're taking a shower because the electric consumption goes up because your electric hot water heater kicks in and your usage climbs. They can chart it and they can graph it and they can know what your activities are like in your home based on the consumption of electricity at specific times during the day. They monitor it, they record it, and there's no telling how long they're going to record this. We're going to talk about smart meters. We're going to talk about the damaging effects to your health. And we're going to talk about how to get rid of them, how you can get them out of your property, and how you can prevent them from becoming part of your property. Jerry Day's with us, and he's a lifelong media producer. He's an Emmy winner. He's worked on major roles of production, including hosting, producing, and directing. Have you heard of the Matrix News Network? Well, Jerry was a segment producer and the host of the international broadcast television program Matrix News Network. It reached 30 million viewers weekly. And he has YouTube videos that have reached over 4.5 million views on his YouTube channel. We're going to talk about that. And right now, we're going to talk about smart meters. Welcome, Jerry Day.
Vincent, great to be with you.
Jerry, this topic is so serious, so important. Why don't we start with what's the problem with smart meters? Well, I guess let's talk about what they are first, and then what's the problem with them.
Well, it's the same thing. You've got a surveillance device, and now, for some reason, your power company has decided to attach one to the side of your home. And this is a very different device than your old analog meters. This is a recorder. This is, and you touched on it when it's actually worse than what you tell. You say, well, you're taking a shower, and somebody knows you're taking a shower. Well, that's absolutely true, because with these meters, if you parse the data from the meter, you don't need to have an electric water heater. The data can be parsed in a way to where they can determine that the light in the bathroom is on. They know one appliance from another. They can do this. There's what's called a current draw footprint in your meter data. So they know exactly what devices are being used if they want to know that. Now, at some point in the future, some insurance company is going to be trying to deny you a big claim or settlement. Some law enforcement agency is going to mistake you for some criminal. There's going to be some big institution coming after you for something that they shouldn't be coming after you for. And then we'll go to your power company, and they'll say, oh, look at where you were. Look at what you were doing. We're right. They can trap you in a lie because they know far more minute to minute about what you've been doing the last, say, 3 years than you could possibly ever remember. They have the data set there. And they could just say, did you do this? Were you there? Were you doing this? And you go, I don't think so. Maybe. That was 2 years ago. I don't know what I did on that day. And they say, well, we do. We know. And you don't seem to know. So you know something? In this court action, we're right. We win. So this is not a good thing to have attached to your home. This is sending your personal life story to someone else for their purposes, for their uses, where they can take advantage of you in any number of ways, all the way down to just simply jacking up your energy rates because you've engaged in what they deem to be bad energy consumption behavior. Oh, you turned your washing machine on at 2 in the afternoon. That's peak load. That's bad behavior. We have a penalty for that. You'll see a $40 charge on your electric bill this month. So there's any number of ways they can use this data. Knowledge is power, and knowledge about you is power over you, and that's what a digital electric meter does. I use the term digital because the term smart meter is used quite often, but a smart meter is sort of just like a brand name of a digital meter. Every digital meter is designed to have a recorder in it, to be a data recorder, and you don't want to get the mistake of saying, well, this is not a smart meter, so this is okay. If it's a digital meter, it is not okay.
There you go.
So where do you want to go with this, Vinny, as far as how we want to explain this further? Because I'm not, there's so many ways we could go.
Let's talk about the surveillance. If you have a credit card and you buy gasoline, they know where you were, at what time, and what you bought. They know how many gallons. They know what type of gasoline, whether it was 87, 89, 91 octane. They know that. They know your habits. They know where you stop for groceries. They know if you stop at a convenience store. They know your habits from your credit card purchases, your debit card purchases. They know your electric habits. They are spying on your farm or your property or your townhouse with satellite surveillance. They know what you're saying on your cell phones. They know all your texts. They've recorded them, your cell phone conversations, your tweets, and they know where you've taken pictures with your smartphone camera because the GPS data is loaded is stored with the picture, and they can track you. So this is just one more. Right. But very invasive.
It's a big one.
Way of tracking.
It's a big one. This is in your home, and this is a constant record of your living habits at your home, inside your home. So it sort of fills in a big gap in their data set. You know, we're in this weird time of history where the government has decided that data collection is just the greatest thing, and they want to know everything about you. And you know, we've seen what this leads to. I was just reading an article a couple of days ago where somebody's talking about the very first computers when the internet was just starting, and this person that was kind of a programmer involved in the creation of some of the original programming, the internet, whenever he left his house, his friends would always notice, you turn everything off. You turn off your computer, you turn off your router, you turn off, you know, your breaker, you turn it all off. What are you doing? He says, well, you know, when they started this internet, they designed it such a way to where you have to give them a back door. You know, so this is something like, what, 1979 or something. And the programmer is saying, I have to turn all this off because they could come into my computer if I leave it on. There's this backdoor in the programming, the operating system, the internet connection. They have to have this. The government has required this module to be in all the programming to where they can come in, and that's the purpose of this. So they can come in and they can just explore in all this data exchange all they want. Mm-hmm. So this is not something that they just got the bright idea, oh, let's go spy on the internet. The internet was created with the purpose in mind of having everybody play in a playground where the government already is, where the institutions already are, where the powers that be are not only infiltrating into the playground, they've created the playground for the purpose. You know, I've thought for many years how fun it would be to create a church or a conference room area where I could position cameras where, for instance, I could do the best wedding video you've ever seen, and nobody at the wedding would be aware that there was a camera anywhere. And so I would be creating kind of a super surveillance facility where if an event took place in that facility, I could cover it as well as a primetime television show, and you wouldn't be aware of any camera. You wouldn't see any camera, and it could easily be done, and there are probably places like that. Well, this is what the internet is like, where you've got something that's created for the purpose of ultimate surveillance and is serving that purpose. And so when you go to the internet, you were not the first one there. The first one there was the person who decided that they wanted a place where they could entice you to go, where they could watch you. And we all go there because they offer benefits, and there's tremendous convenience and whatever for the utilization of these electronic services. You know, our debit cards, our internet, whatever it is. But when we go there, every time we create a digital transaction of any kind, and that means a click on your keyboard, a mouse move, a rollover, a credit card purchase, a medical record, anywhere there's a digital record created, believe me, that's going into a master Utah surveillance database. Whatever this, I don't remember you saw the cover of Wired magazine a couple of months ago where they explored this new database. Well, that's where all this data goes in one central place. Right. A higher resolution picture of you than you could possibly even know about yourself.
You're absolutely right, and they're doing that in Missouri. They're taking license photographs, and they're doing a retina scan with a camera that takes a picture of your face, shoulders, and hair. Jerry Day's with us, and we're going to talk about getting rid of smart meters when we come back. I'm Vin Finelli. I know we can't do this in one day. It's clear. Jerry, we're going to have to do digital meters 101, 102, 103, 104, and 105. But Jerry, here's a thought. One of our instructors lives in California, and he's an electrical engineer, and he bought an electric car because he thinks that that's a great way to go. Here's my thought. He was enticed into a reduced electric rate because he has an electric car, so he can charge his electric car at a reduced rate, and also he has time of day rate reduction. So if he has consumption, let's say for, I don't know if he has a pool, I don't think he does, but let's say he did, he could run his pool pump, which is a electric consumption, a high electric consumption device in the pool pump motor. But so they offer discounts based on time of day usage. Okay, so now he's got this digital meter. Mm-hmm. I can see coming down the road from this. Hey, you know what? We're in a little trouble in California because, you guys aren't paying for the gasoline road tax, the diesel road tax. So since you guys have your electric cars plugged in, we're going to charge you a tax based on your charging of your electric car. And what you said was there's the footprint of the device usage or the device consuming electricity, so they'll know that it's that darn charger for the car, and they'll say, well, here's how much you charged it, here's how many miles you probably went, so here's your tax. I can see that coming.
Well, sure, and as I said, knowledge is power, and knowledge of you is power over you. And so, I love it when I hear people, when I talk about these things, sometimes somebody will say, well, I'm not doing anything wrong, I have nothing to hide.
No.
And that one always gets me, because I love to come back and I can say, well, then just give me your credit card number and all your login codes and all your passwords and, all the stuff you don't have to hide. Why don't you just give that to me? And suddenly they get real quiet, because, of course, we have something to hide. If you have anything of value, if you have privacy, if you have rights, you have to protect them. And I think most of your listeners are very familiar with that. But this meter thing, I was thinking in the break, we can know quite a bit more about these meters. These meters are the technology within the meters, what they plan to do with the data. All of this is very deep and wide, but it's only one part of this giant surveillance matrix. And so you're right. How many shows can you do? Because this has gone so far where it didn't used to be where you would not know or trust what your power company was doing. They were bringing you electricity and you were using it. Now they're putting monitoring devices on your home, and they're not telling you what will be done with this data. They're not telling you really how much data they're actually collecting, what the resolution of that data is. They're not telling you what the software will do with that data. They're not telling you who they transmit that data to. They're not telling you why they wanted all this data in the first place. They're not explaining why every power company in the developed world is doing this in synchronicity to where it's too coincidental. This is a program. This is not your power company's idea. This is a program. Why is the federal government all of a sudden, in a period of a few years, subsidizing millions of installations of these meters? Why they have this stimulus money, they call it. So they're just allocating money for any mad purpose they want, as if spraying money into the public is going to somehow boost the economy, without creating any manufacturing infrastructure or anything else. They're just going to throw money into the economy. And then, lo and behold, it turns out, what are they going to do with this money? They're going to build a giant surveillance network. And so you couldn't do that. Imagine if you were some wealthy capitalist entrepreneur, sociopath who wanted to control and monitor every human being on the planet. I don't care how much money you have, you can't do that quickly and that effectively. So you just, these are people at the top end of the financial scale. These are people who own and control governments, own and control currencies, own and control media, own and control the military. So these are people who pull strings, and governments turn corners. So you've got, they say, well, rather than me just have to, master this program of monitoring and surveillance, let's just have the federal government take what they call their stimulus money, and we'll allocate all this money over here, and we'll just buy free meters for all these cities and towns all over the country. And that's what's going on. If you go to your city, they're coming in there and they're buying all this equipment for them. Well, that's no accident.
Jerry Day, I just got an email from one of our instructors. My email address has been removed from his computer. He didn't do it. This weird stuff is happening. Weird stuff. And we come back. Let's dump our smart meters. Let's talk about how to do it. What is the procedure that we use to get these smart meters off our property? Class, I want to thank our instructors, Mike, Tony, and other instructors who have emailed me with links. I'm going to put up some links on the website to talk about botched paramilitary police raids. I'm going to put up some links about smart meters and how you can get rid of them. Jerry Day's information is what I'm talking about. And also, Jerry, just got an email from Scott, and he says, can the smart meter make it possible for TV or a TV converter box to watch you? Can a CRT TV watch you, or is it the converter box that makes that possible? Your
I think
thoughts?
the converter box, would be the more likely suspect there. These are two different surveillance devices that essentially have their own integral systems. So they don't need to trade data back and forth. They can certainly be made to do that. You can do anything, when you have a wireless, what they call a home area network setup, anything can talk to anything. And, whether and how they design those features into these devices, they don't even tell us, so how would we know? But I don't think you have to worry about whether or not your cable box is talking to your smart meter, because both of them are talking to the powers that be, whether they are talking to each other or not. So they can integrate that data on the back end, and no problem. But I want to get to
back in the 70s.
Oh, go ahead.
Just one second. Back in the 70s, I worked with a guy who at night he would take his telephone and put it in his closet and put pillows over his telephone. He was that concerned. And on another subject, Samsung has a television with a camera, okay, and it can watch you. Their new television has a camera, and it can watch you. There's no question about it. And to address the question that Scott had, if you have a notebook computer that has a camera on the cover, it can be turned on remotely, and so can the microphone. So remotely, you can be listened to in your home.
Right,
and you can be watched in your home.
Part of the internet since the internet
so you need to
began.
Right. So I just wanted to share that. So Jerry, let's get on and with let's get these things out of our homes.
Yeah. Let me go.
What do we do?
Explain one thing. There may be some people who don't really know the exact problem with the meter. So there are three big problems, and this is what to remember about your smart meter. The first problem is, of course, the surveillance. The second problem is high energy density pulsed radiation. They have to transmit your data somehow, and they decided it's cheaper to do it wirelessly than run wires everywhere. So they can save a lot of power by producing what's called pulsed radiation. So they save up your data, they save up some energy in the meter, and they go pow, pow. It's got this pulsed thing. Now it's coming out at 2 nanoseconds. Every, say, 3 to 4 seconds. If you get a good EMF meter to scan these things, you'll see exactly when these pulsed shots are going out. But this is not something that you want to stand in the way of. This is weaponized, high-energy density pulsed radiation. And this is, there's a name, Barry Trower. I don't know if you've talked about him on your show, but Barry Trower is an expert on weaponized radiation from the UK from the 50s and 60s, and he's out telling the world about the problems with the smart meters, about the problems with the wireless devices in general. And he's saying we're killing ourselves. We're destroying our DNA. We're destroying the DNA of our future generations with these devices. You can't sit here in this flood of electromagnetic radiation and not have it harm you, and not have it deconstruct your DNA and your reproductive, systems. So this is this high energy density pulsed radiation. That is only one of the two problems. The other problem, let's call it the third problem. So you've got surveillance, you've got high energy density pulse transmitted radiation to transmit the data. Now you've got a third problem, and this is the switching mode power supply. It's a transformer-type device within the electric meter that the only purpose it's there is to steal electricity to power the digital components within the meter. So if you have an analog meter, you don't need one of these. It's a switching mode power supply. If you have a digital meter that records surveillance data, you need one of these. You have to steal some electricity from the customer and power the digital components and power the recorder. When you put a switching mode power supply at the head end of a wiring grid, such as your home, you disrupt the incoming current, and you cause what is called dirty electricity. You are reducing the sine wave current integrity, and you are putting turbulence in it. It's like putting a stick in a stream. You create turbulence downstream. This turbulence is emitted from your house wiring in the form of electromagnetic radiation, and this is what makes many people sick. And so it doesn't matter when your power company tells you, oh, you can pay for an opt-out and we'll turn off the transmitter and we'll come and collect your data locally and we'll read your meter from the street with our van. Well, they've got that switching mode power supply in there to assist the recorder whether or not they're transmitting. And you've got that dirty electricity in your home. And I've spoken to people, I get calls from people all over the world. I've spoken to people, one man whose daughter went into full quadriplegia on this type of dirty electricity. I spoke to another man who has a pacemaker, whose pacemaker was shut down. He went into full cardiac arrest, went into the ER, almost died because his pacemaker was exposed to these electromagnetic fields. So you cannot have, there's three big problems. So there's the surveillance, there's the high energy density transmitted data, pulse data, and then there's the dirty electricity. So now you've got the full map of why you don't want one of these on your house. Now we can get to how you get rid of it. The power companies have decided to sort of squeeze their easement out into things that they're not really granted easement for. Your power company will tell you, well, we have an easement. We can come on your property, we can enter your property, we can occupy your property, we can maintain our equipment, we can handle emergencies, we can do all this stuff because you've agreed to do that as a condition of using our electricity. And the answer to that is, sure you can, but I never authorized you, nor was there ever any implication that I authorized you to emit radiation on my property or to conduct surveillance on my property. That's not in your easement. You do not have a grant of authority for that from the property owner, from the occupants. You don't have it. Show it to me. And so what your power company is doing is they're presuming an unlimited easement for any activities they want to do. And I say it's like they've decided if they want to, they could put a hand grenade on the side of your house. That's how they're acting. That's the way they're behaving because, we'll just put this surveillance device on your house, and that's just an extension of our easement. No, it's not. You don't have an easement for that kind of behavior. You don't have an easement for that kind of invasion of my health, safety, rights, and privacy. You don't have it. The problem is you've got to notice them on it. You've got to clear up this gray area. There's all this vague, like, what is the easement, what isn't the easement? The easement is whatever they presume it to be unless you tell them it's not. So now the burden comes on you, and you have to send a notice to them, and you have to do it in writing. You have to do it by certified mail. You send it to the CEO of the company, the top officer of the company, not the customer service department. You got to send it to somebody who has authority over policy. Nobody in customer service has authority over policy. So you send it to the CEO and you say, you may not conduct surveillance on my property. It's unlawful. Here's the law. You may not emit radiation on my property. It's unlawful. Here's the law. And that is in the notice that we've got at freedomtaker.com. So you go to freedomtaker.com, you scroll down, and there's a free download of these documents, these legal documents, and you send those to your power company, and you draw the line in the sand. You say, this is where you can't go. This is what you can't do. And we've got something 8 to 10 page legal document that just goes way into this to the point where it even says that if you threaten an opt-out on me, if you threaten to deny me electric service, you can't do that legally because all I'm doing is defending my property, my health, my safety, my privacy, my family. All I'm doing is protecting myself. All I'm doing is acting in self-defense against your harm, and you have no authority to take retaliation against me in any way. So this legal document covers that whole thing. And what it says is you have, to the power company, you have 30 days or you have 21 days. You make up the amount of time. You have X number of days to get this thing off my property and get it replaced with a safe and lawful analog meter. And if you do not do so in self-defense and within my rights, I will replace the meter myself. And at that same website, freedomtaker.com, you can order an analog meter, a safe and lawful analog meter. And you can own it and stick it on there, and they're easy to install and replace. So there's how you do it. Go ahead.
Installation only takes 5 minutes if you're slow.
Well,
seriously.
Here's where you get tripped up. If they have a lock on your meter, you have to defeat that lock. But you don't do any of this, and this is important, until you have given yourself the right to. And you don't just go out without giving them legal notice, without giving them any announcement, go out and change your meter. You don't do it because now you're tampering with their equipment, now you're interfering with their presumed easement, and now you're in trouble, and now you're a bad guy. So you have to do this notice, some kind of notice, official notice to them, certified mail, signed receipt. You've got the evidence that you did tell them. They are in criminal trespass. They are breaking the law. We will not allow that or tolerate on our property. We do not give you consent for that. We refuse and prohibit that. And here's your notice. And then you let that go. Now, if you have health issues, a pacemaker, you don't give them 21 days. You give them 2 hours. That thing will kill you. If you have insomnia, if you have headaches, heart palpitations, brain fog, these are classic symptoms of electromagnetic exposures from these meters. I talk to people every day with those symptoms, and they call me going, what can I do? And we talk about shielding, and we talk about replacing the meter, and there's all kinds of things to talk about to mitigate that problem. But the problem is the meter, and the problem could be the Wi-Fi. The problem could be that you're a quarter of a mile from a cell tower. The problem could be that your microwave oven or your cell phone or your cordless phone. It's all this wireless stuff. It's the compounded total of all that stuff. Now, for some reason, smart meters seem to push people over the edge. And they say, I hear this story over and over and over. We got sick. My kids got asthma. I had no idea why. We went to the doctor. The doctor said, well, there's no reason they should have asthma. I recently spoke to a family of six. They have a family of 8. They have 6 children. And 3 of their children, or 4 of their children, came down with asthma all at the same time. And then they figured out, oh, that's right when they put in the meter. And they had to get rid of the meter. You got music. We'll come back.
Jerry Day, hard-hitting, and freedomtaker.com. There's a link on the website, usaprepares.com. Page 1 is a link to Jerry Day. I suggest you click on it and act on it right. Class, Jerry Day has on his website the following quote: "He who fails to assert his rights has none." And this is not how it should be, but that's how the courts treat people. So we must know and be prepared to assert our rights at all times. It is a duty to take freedom for yourself, and it is a crime to take the freedom of another. Jerry, you have that on your website, and I agree completely.
I want to get to one point real quick, Vinny, if I can.
Sure.
But it sounded like I interrupted you. Finish that thought.
No, that is the thought. And I want to make sure that we tell everybody what they need to do right now to get these meters stopped.
I wanted to clarify this. At freedomtaker.com, when you scroll down, there is a download button. There is no charge for this legal document. And this is not some kind of sales pitch. It's just go get the document, look at it, and see what it does. And we have other documents there. I think you get a couple of different ones. You get a posted notice, so you can post that on your gate or on your meter. And it warns people, you touch this meter, you put in a surveillance device here, you owe us $100,000 or $5,000, something that's got some warning. And to put an unlawful device on your house is compliance and volunteering to be an obligation to you. So you're putting someone on notice that if they do something harmful to you, they owe you, and they owe you voluntarily by the act of doing something harmful to you. And putting a digital surveillance meter and a radiation-emitting meter on your property is harmful to you. And that puts the power company in direct monetary obligation to you. When you go to the freedomtaker.com, you get this document, you can download it, any email, you just put in an email address. We don't use anyone's email. We don't exploit that in any way. It stays totally private. We don't even send you any messages or anything. All that does is get you the download of the document, and then you can look that over. That document comes with a kit that we have. You can get an analog meter, the actual meter itself, for $69.95 plus shipping. So we have that essentially at cost. And with that kit comes the documentation. But I tell people, if you're not even sure, you don't know, you need the documentation first anyway, so go get it. And then when you get your kit, you get another copy of that on a CD-ROM with the kit. But the main thing is to get that protection in there. You know, once you put your power company on notice, and this is going to be your gas company, your water company, and your electric company. You know, they're all coming in with smart meters. They're all surveillance devices. I'm mostly concerned about the electric meter for two reasons. One is the data that they collect from you, the power consumption usage data, is much higher resolution than, say, gas or water. And so they know more about you by your electric consumption than by your other utility consumption. And the radiation, the electromagnetic radiation produced by the electric meter is generally worse than the ones they put in the gas and the water, especially the gas. The gas, they can't possibly put 110 volts on a gas meter. They shouldn't put any electronic device of any kind on a gas meter. They're sparks when you have any electric current. And what they're doing is they're putting battery-powered monitoring devices on gas meters. Well, even the battery can make a spark. Any electronics can make a spark. Here in California, we're in an earthquake zone. And so you're putting an electronic device on a gas meter, and you have an earthquake and a gas leak and a spark. You know, so it's the stupidest thing you can possibly imagine. But the regulators have just seemed to blindly overlook that problem, and they just go ahead and put on these meters on the gas meter.
And most gas meters, you're required to have all electric devices 10 feet or farther away from them for that very reason.
Yeah, they're attaching them directly to the actual gas meter, or the gas, incoming. So it's just, how do you possibly explain this? You know, it's not a question your gas company is going to want to answer, because they can't.
Class, so here's what you do. You can go to the website, usaprepares.com, usaprepares.com. There's a post, page 1, Jerry Day. You can click on that. That'll take you to his website. It'll take you to his video. If you go to the bottom of page 1, usaprepares.com, you click on Jerry Day, Smart Meter. It'll take you right to his website. You can enter your email address, download the documents absolutely free. I have the documents. I've read the documents. I believe it's going to work, and I'm going to act on mine this afternoon. Jerry Day, thanks so much for being with us. I really appreciate it. So we're going to do 102 coming up. 103, 104, 105 with Jerry Day. Class, above all, honesty and integrity. What happens next is up to you. Dump your smart meter.